Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Dolphin Financial Radio Show. I'm Dan Wendell, owner of the Dolphin Financial Group. Today, we're going to be talking about how people are retiring earlier than expected. That's right. We're going to talk about how people are leaving their work or retiring early or getting fired well before than they anticipate. This is a little counterintuitive to what we see about retirement planning. I'm going to work forever. People have great plans about working forever. Some people say I want to retire yesterday, but a lot of people say I want to work forever. I want to work until I don't want to work anymore. But that's not reality. People retire a lot sooner than they expect. Let's bring in my sidekick, Tony Shore here. We'll get him in the show. Let's see, where is he? Ah, there he is, Tony
Here I
Shore.
Wow, what an intro. I love that. I love the fact that you have a new soundboard to play with
Yes, I
during
do.
the show. Yeah. Yeah, it makes it more exciting. Now when we talk about things like taxes and Social Security, we can break up the monotony. Oh, yeah, funny stuff.
We can add some laughter to it.
Sure. Sure. Well, and then I wanted to start off the show. I know this wasn't necessarily the topic, but I wanted to start off the show talking about getting your thoughts on the Ukraine situation.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Ukraine today. We're not
Well,
going to talk about politics.
I know, but I'll admit, I don't get it. I don't get why Putin is doing that. I don't get it at all. So maybe you do. We'll talk after the show. The show won't be about that, but maybe our listeners get it. Maybe someone out there understands it more than I do. I don't know.
Well,
but the more I read about it,
one, Tony. I think it takes one to know one, and the fact that you don't get it is a good thing, right?
I don't know, Putin. Wow. Okay, so anyway, that's a mess over there.
So again, listeners, we're talking about people retiring earlier than expected. I guess okay. Tony might be retiring earlier from the show than expected because I'm about to kick him out for going off topic. Okay, Tony, we've done a show. I'll put it up here in the past on the 2021 Retirement Confidence Survey. This is the Employee Benefit Research Institute, the EBRI. And when we did that show, I said, we're going to do another one. I have the link down here for anyone that's watching on YouTube. I'll also put it in the show notes if you're watching on YouTube. This survey gives a lot of different information about retirement planning issues, so on and so forth. And we talked about Social Security and how people feel about that, whether or not they're getting the most out of it and so forth. I'll put, a show about Social Security. I mean, we do a ton of shows on Social Security. So
yeah.
I'll put the list up there for all of our Social Security shows. But in today's show, I want to talk about people retiring earlier than expected. And you know that people always say, yeah, well, what do you think the retirement age is? You should know this one. You should know.
Well, it depends what the retirement
the average retirement age.
65, 62.
Which one is it, Tony?
Well, you can start taking Social Security at 62. You can start getting Medicare at 65. The full retirement age for most people is 66.
When do people retire? When they call it, not take Social Security. When do they retire?
I'm going to say the average. You're asking for the average?
Yeah, the average, the median.
62.
Tony got it right. Median retirement age in this country is 62. What is the median expected retirement age? 65.
Yep.
So what this
So I was right on both accounts, really.
You were.
Yeah.
See, you're cheating. I have a feeling you're cheating.
I'm not cheating.
I know you're on
under here anywhere.
You're on the EBRI Twitter feed right now, just getting the no. So here's what's going on with retirement in this country. People expect to retire at 65, but they retire at 62. So people are retiring earlier than they expect. Nearly half retire earlier than expected. That's a pretty big number.
Wow, that's huge. So half the people out there retire earlier than they plan on it or expect to.
That's right. So is that a good thing?
I don't know that that's a good thing. I want to be able to do this as long as I can. I want to be doing a show with you until I'm well into my 70s or 80s.
Wow, that'll put me in my 30s. So I think it depends.
Wow.
Right? I think whether or not people are retiring earlier than expected really depends on why.
That's true. I mean, I plan on literally working into my 70s, but I imagine the only thing that would prevent that, and I don't know if this is true for that half of people out there have to retire earlier than expected. The only reason I could think of would be health reasons.
Well, they give 3 reasons in the survey. Why are we retiring early? 1, because we can.
Why do men pass away before women typically? Because we can. Why do husbands outlive wives?
I think the joke. No, that's not. It's why do men die earlier than women? It's because we want to.
Because we want to.
That's the joke, Tony. Get it right.
Whatever. It's all the same. I've heard it both ways.
So if you look at this, you say, okay, and now these are not in any particular order, because we can, for health concerns, and then employer changes. So because we can means people can retire early because they can monetarily, they could do it. They could do it financially. So they retire earlier than expect. That happens a lot less frequently than you would imagine, I think.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people come to me saying, I'm going to work until I die, but I kind of want to know the numbers, and they're afraid. And then I run the numbers and say, actually, you could retire earlier than before you die. You know, you can retire at 65 or 62 or 58. And they're like, oh. And so then they do, right? So that's the good news. The bad news is the one you talked about. People retire early because they have a health scare and they can't do their job anymore. You know,
I would think that's the big one. Like, you know, as long as my voice holds out, I can do my job because co-hosting, right?
You know how you're going to retire early, Tony?
How's that, or why?
It's going to be because
you're fired. You're fired.
Thank you, Dan Wendell. Thank you, Donald Trump. And bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye now.
So this is the main
you're fired
reason why people retire early on their employer changes. That doesn't mean they're changing employers. That means their employer is saying, you know what?
It's work related. I think a better way to say it better than employer changes would be work related. Something about your job related changes or job related concerns. People just absolutely can't stand to work one day longer. They get fired or they just quit.
Or in the case of COVID, a lot of companies shuttered. And the employees.
That's true.
The
companies went out of business. Yeah.
Right. The employer went out of business. Right. And so that's it. So these are the reasons why people are retiring earlier than expected. And half of people are retiring earlier than expected. I would wish it was because they can, but odds are it's because they have health concerns or their employer says you're fired, right? Or the employee goes under. So, but all right, this is not very useful, Dan. You're telling me, you know, how am I supposed to know? All right, if I come in and see you and you could say you can retire early, well, that's good, right? So that would be the first step. Go meet with a financial planner, a CFP, you know, preferably someone that's can look at taxes and retirement and health insurance and all these things. And find out, can you retire early? And if you can, then join the club, right?
Right.
But
the first one, because you can, that's like winning the lottery would fall under that category.
No, Tony, because that's not like winning a lottery. People can retire early because they save and they work hard, right? And
because they worked with a financial services professional for a long enough time that they saved and made the right investments and decisions financially. Yeah.
So it's not winning the lotto. It's getting payoff for all years of hard work. It's winning the lotto if you stay healthy, right? That's maybe, or your employer doesn't fire you or go out of business. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what people do when they're planning retirement. They think, I'm going to work. So we run into a scenario where it's like, oh, you can retire at 62, but I don't want to. I'm going to work, or I'm gonna transition out of my retirement. I'm gonna start part-time, and then I'm gonna take a side gig. When I do retire from my main job, I'm gonna turn on Social Security and I'm gonna work part-time doing something I love, right? That's what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
In fact, 51% of people expect to gradually transition into retirement. So not work full-time, lower their hours gradually, but only 19% actually did.
Yeah.
So 51 said they're going to do that, but only 19% actually gradually transition out.
That I believe, that I've seen. Yeah. Usually people work, then retire. It's not this gradual. That would be a luxury to be able to gradually ease into it, but I don't think many people can manage it.
Half of people say that that's their expectation. Half of people plan for this to happen.
Yeah. I don't want that. I don't want to gradually. I want to work, and then
you're fired.
And then that. Oh, Dan.
So
here we go.
73% said that retirement was fully immediate, like there was no transition. So there's a little bit of a disconnect here. 73% said, boom, I'm done. And that's going to be, I had a health scare and I have to stop. I got fired. My company went bankrupt. Or I thought I was going to do a little transitioning into, part-time. And then I realized once I didn't show up that Monday, I was done. I'm not going. Like, it sounded great, but I didn't have to put up with Debbie at the office anymore. I'm done. Thank goodness. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a disconnect here between what people think.
Debbie at the office.
Right. You know, right. That's it. So then there's this idea of, well, okay, part of my retirement plan, I get this a lot. Okay, I'm going to transition into retirement and work part-time, so on. Well, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire, maybe get my pension, or I'm just going to take Social Security, or I'm just going to hold off on Social Security because I'm going to work. Part of my retirement plan is to make money working in retirement. I'm going to earn some money in retirement. I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to work at the, I don't know, I'm going to work at the local animal shelter and get paid some money because I love animals, right?
Yep.
Something like that.
I'm surprised that number isn't higher. Everybody I know says they're going to do that. I mean,
right. Because I think people know that. And I think we did a show on it. I'll look. If I did, I'll put it up here. We did a show on how if you work longer, you live longer.
Yep.
Or if you retire early, that was it. If you retire early, you die early, right? Something like that, right? It was sensational, but the idea was if you stay active, you're going to live longer. If you
right.
It's
like my grandpa Bob just turned 101. 101.
Oh man, you should have given me a little heads up there. I would have done this.
Last week.
101.
Last week, and he had a birthday party at an event center in his hometown of Worthington, Minnesota, and the newspaper and TV people showed up to ask him how he does it, and he goes, "You never stop. Just don't stop."
Right.
That I just wanted to say that story because it really does work that way. If you stop working and you retire early, you can only you might travel for a while or play golf every day for a while, but you'll get bored with that and you'll end up sitting on the couch. And a lot of people you're a lot less active. You don't have something to get up for every day. And that'll take it out of you. People die if you don't have something to get up for every morning and do, and a mission and a goal for every single day. That's that you'll stop living, and that's the problem.
It is a problem, and it adds stress, or just you get sedentary, and life doesn't. You don't want to be that way. Yeah. Now, that doesn't. Or
you can become a radio show co-host and get sedentary right away. Just
right, but we're talking about earning money in retirement. We're not talking about volunteer work here. No, but to the point with your grandfather, he wasn't necessarily working though. He was just active, right? He wasn't earning. He wasn't farming for money, right?
He was up until. I mean, he still worked every day on the farm. He did stuff every day on the farm. That's the thing.
Right.
And he still did work on the farm every day up until about 2 years ago. Till I think he was 98. He did work every day outside on the farm until he was 98.
And he's a prime example. You know, there's some genetics involved. That's a little bit of a lottery there, but
Sure.
you better hope you get those genetics. So for a lot of people though, they plan to, like, that is part of their retirement plan, is to earn that money. And what I'm saying is 68% of people say I'm going to earn some sort of money in retirement, which requires them to stay active theoretically.
Yeah.
Because they're working.
Yeah, that's good.
But actually those that get paid for work in retirement is 23%.
Yikes. So, another disparity between what people say they're going to do and what actually happens. And that's been the theme of the show. But I also want to point out to people who plan to work to earn that money in retirement. We've talked about this on past shows. That's another fallacy, because what they don't understand are the tax, Social Security implications and tax implications of doing that in retirement.
Yeah, we did it. I did a show specifically on working and claiming Social Security at the same time, and there's some issues with that.
That's an important show that people should go back and listen to, because that really ties into this, I think.
Yeah, the government doesn't want you to retire and claim Social Security and then let's go back to work.
Can't do it. They'll
you
take the money
back. But there are rules. Yeah, that's a good show to watch. But really, Tony, it's interesting because people, and I deal with retirement income plan. That's what I do all day. So people say, all right, let's, like with your grandfather, he also had passive income.
Yes, he did.
Which is great. So we can create that, but this is different. This is active income earning. Yeah. And a lot of people say they want to do it, but a lot of people don't. So not a lot to do, right? So 68%, they're going to work. That's my plan. It's in my income plan. I'm going to make 20,000 a year, whatever it is.
To do it.
Only 23% do it. And I think there's a couple of reasons there. One, again, health scare or the job's not there. But more often than not, it's I am facing reality of I don't want to do it. Right? Like, I enjoy my time off, and why would I go back to doing something?
Exactly.
Or no one wants to hire me because I'm overqualified, meaning I'm too old, but they won't tell you that.
It's ageism, and they're not supposed to do that, but every company does.
Right. They look at you and they say, I have a lot of clients in this boat. They're in their late 50s, early 60s, and they're struggling. They have extremely good qualifications, but they're just too old to the employer, I feel. Now, we can't prove that, right? That's illegal, but...
Well, and a lot of it's wages, too, because...
Right, they don't want to pay that big wage.
Yeah, they can pay somebody right out of college half the salary.
Right. Or they don't want to invest in that new training when that person's getting all up in age and they're going to leave anyway. So I think there's a lot of reasons why. And I think it's important, though, that people know that there's often there's often a situation where people are getting ahead of themselves with their expectations on what they're going to earn in retirement. So when I meet with people and we're planning out the retirement and they say, I expect to make some money doing XYZ, I often have this conversation. Well, let's be real about it. Let's tone it down. Or, hey, if you have a plan, that's fine. That's good. It's okay. It works. But I think people that are loosey-goosey about it, I'll pick up something and do it. We got to be grounded in reality. Yeah. And I think that's the point of the show. So people are overestimating their ability to work in retirement. They're overestimating it. And so how do you combat that? You just don't be rigid about your work plan. Don't say, I'm going to do this. This is the only way I'm going to retire is if I'm making this much money at part-time. Have some flexibility there.
You have to.
And then how do you prepare for those that the health scare or your employer goes under? The only way to really do that, Tony, is to be flexible. So maybe have some marketable skills outside of your current employer, but more importantly, just save more.
Yeah.
Save more for retirement. And when you're building a retirement savings plan, have some sort of health expense fund as well, whether it's an HSA, which is my favorite retirement vehicle of all time.
Yep.
Or just when you're thinking about putting money away, make sure you're factoring in health insurance. Understand the health insurance marketplace before Medicare,
right?
Because you might need it. Don't just think you're going to get Medicare at 65. No. What if you retire before then?
Sure.
So really be prepared for that. Don't overestimate is the key factor in this. And the studies prove it, the numbers prove it. Everyone feels they're invincible, everyone feels they're marketable, but when they go out in the real world and they start looking and saying, oh, my health isn't as good as I thought, the job market's not as great as I thought, these employers are discriminating, this is life. So factor that in.
Yep. And work with a financial services professional.
Retirement will be a wonderful adventure, and we'll do it together.
Yeah. That sounds like a Disney retirement.
And this is your retirement plan?
Yeah. I think that's it, Tony. That's the key message here is plan for not working in retirement, because the odds are that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
Thanks for a good show, Tony. I appreciate that.
One.
And
good topic.
You're fired.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only. This show is not investment advice. Dan Wendell nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency. Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida. Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance, Inc. Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc. and Dolphin Insurance, Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group. You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies or ideas.